Hello, I'm Billy Bonds, and today I want to explain to you the benefits and the reasons why we choose this particular heavy-duty automatic door operator over other models. I'll get straight into it. You can see we've got it set up on a test door here, very simple label on the end showing the instructions and how to use it. We've got a very simple set of instructions that just explains what the controls do. Very, very simple. But there are several very good reasons why we like to use this model. It's a very heavy-duty piece of equipment. There's no hydraulic oil or springs or seals in there, which means that it's very quiet. It's a really good piece of kit. We use these in some very harsh environments. This particular model is also half an hour fire rated, or it's actually fire rated to 35 minutes, which gives it a lot of good compliance for those areas where that's important. In addition to that, the standard controls comes with this very simple 3-position switch on the end, but we can add what we call a BDE, which is a digital LCD display, which gives you very good, clear instructions about what mode it's set in. It also gives you fault codes and error codes, which makes diagnosing faults and problems over the phone for us as a service company, and for you, the end user, it makes that very good. It makes us able to very quickly and easily diagnose what your problems are and what problems you're having. We might be able to give you some information straight away that you can use to solve that problem. So those are some initial reasons. In addition to that, this one model can do a wide arrangement of applications. It can be fitted from left to right. It can open in and open out. This is what we call a sliding track arm, or is often used for pulling the door open, but this is also very good for pushing the door open. It means there's no large articulated arm sticking out above the entrance door, which means there's less likelihood of use or unwanted jumping up and hanging on that arm. Also looks much neater and tidier. And of course, if you really wanted to, it could be coloured. But this makes for a very neat, tidy application. Another good reason for using this particular model is that the motor gearbox drive spindle projects out of the bottom and the top of the unit, which allows us to add a purpose-made hard stop to fit on the top of the actual drive system. And what that means is, if this door were to open out into a corridor or free space outside the entrance, it means we can actually restrict the opening angle of the door, which means that the door is not going to get blown and smashed backwards by the wind. It's not going to get forced backwards by youths or vandals or from aggression, and it saves a lot of the damage to this equipment. Very, very good piece of equipment. Just the ability to put that hard stop on the top of that drive spindle is a massive benefit. It saves an awful lot of damage. The arms are a very excellent piece of this engineering. These arms are bolted onto the underside with a conical shape adapter, which is multi-tooth as a spline. And it links onto the bottom of this drive unit, and they're very, very solid. We've never ever seen one of these connections actually fall apart and fail. Don't get me wrong, they can be damaged from vandalism and aggression, but generally, by and by, they're very, very strong. One of the more robust units on the market for that reason alone. Yet another reason we like to use this particular machine is because it's very capable. It can push a 1 metre door up to 200 kilos in weight, and it copes adequately with it. What's really nice about these particular machines is that once it's connected to the door and we run it through a calibration cycle, it only applies enough force to move the door and the size of the door that it's connected to. So it works out the weight of the door and how much effort and force is needed to actually get this thing moving and get it to work nice and smoothly and work well within the safety limits. It's very efficient, very small amount of power consumption. I think during full cycle with all sensors connected, it only consumes something like 67 watts. While it's sitting here doing next to nothing, it's only about 13 watts. So it's very low power consumption, very efficient. It's got a fantastic calibratable spring in here as well. We can adjust the spring tension in 2 different ways. So we can make that to suit whichever size and weight of door leaf we're applying this to. And we can actually do a spring calibration. And the motor and the CPU can actually calibrate the spring to work with the known tension and the wear that it's had. So if, for example, it's been in, say, 2 or 3 years, and at routine service time, we can literally recalibrate the spring so that the motor and the CPU understands the tension of the spring as it is then, rather than brand new. Very, very, very versatile unit. It's great from a temperature point of view. It can work in a wide variety of environments. This thing will work from -15 up to around 50 degrees Celsius. So it will work in a very wide range of environments, and quite happily at those temperatures as well. So it will do for almost all environments, and that makes it very versatile and very durable. Another really amazing and very versatile thing about this equipment is that it has a series of inputs and outputs which are completely programmable. In addition to that, we have a set of dry contacts or relay contacts in here which can be used to connect to, say, an intruder alarm system. So instantly this piece of equipment can become your door contact for your alarm system. We can trigger this to open via almost any means. So it can be triggered via a smoke alarm, any type of activation sensor. There are a whole wide range of activation sensors that we use in the automatic door industry. An intruder alarm type sensor, any type of key switch or push pad or push button, a remote control, an access control system, keypads, biometric readers, thumbprint readers, anything you want to use to trigger this thing, it can take it. In addition to that, we can give you an output so that when the door's opened or moving, we can give you an output to then trigger or to give you a signal that you can use to control other things. But very, very versatile. And of course, the most obvious things that we use them for day in, day out are to provide disabled access. But they can suit for smoke vents. We've even used them to launch toys for dogs in pen areas, but just by triggering the arm to move via sensors. So a very, very versatile piece of equipment, and can suit just about any environment. In addition to that, this unit can actually control the door from anything between 70 degrees to 115 degrees in its cycle. So if you've got obstructions immediately behind the door as it opens, we can actually calibrate it to stop at that point. In addition to that, the calibration run will actually tell us where to switch off the sensors as it opens and closes. So if the door opens against a solid object or against a wall, for example, then the sensor that's on the outside of the door will be taken into account when it detects the wall. So straight away, there's no special micro switches or other settings required. The computer inside will recognise that you're running it through a calibration run, and it understands where the start point and where the stop point is. Very, very clever piece of equipment, very versatile. The CAN bus system that this unit works with, it means that everything is monitored. So that if we want to connect up a range of sensors on there, the sensors are actually monitored all the time, which is fantastic because it means if there's a fault or damage occurs to a sensor, we can have this set so that it fails safe and secure, and it won't just keep working even though a sensor may be missing or damaged. The one really good feature that I like an awful lot about this thing is it's very programmable. So we can adjust the opening and closing force via a programmer. We can adjust the opening and closing speed, the acceleration, how fast it shuts, and how long it stays open for. It's so versatile. In addition to that, the mounting position can be varied slightly as well. It's very adaptable from that point of view. With a range of different collars and adapters that fit here, and a range of different arms, we can actually mount this almost anywhere. There aren't many situations where this particular model can't be fitted. It just means we may have to change the adapters or the way the bracketing is set up and rigged up. The one really good thing that I like from a management point of view with the engineers is that there are no fuses on here. So you can't blow a fuse and you can't overload the system. We have what we call thermal fuses on there. So that if there's a short circuit or a fault or damage occurs with a sensor or an activation device somewhere, and there's a short circuit on that cable, you're not going to blow up the equipment. All we're going to have to get is a slight warming of a thermal fuse inside. Once the fault is isolated and found, then we can cure that, and then the thing will be reset and go back to working just as it was. So its long life is almost guaranteed. It takes an awful lot to abuse these, and damage them. So a really good piece of equipment, well worth considering. Maybe a little bit more pricey than some units on the market, but we test these, or the manufacturer tests these to 500,000 activations. Now we actually guarantee these longer than the manufacturer does because of the way we install them. We add some additional engineering to these that doesn't affect the CE rating, but it's more of an enhancement to protect this equipment, to be perfectly honest, and to protect the door system that they're attached to. If they're set in the right way, then these things can last you for years and years and years. So there we have it. That is a DFA 127, lovely piece of kit.